All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of Just Bullshitting with Big Mac, momentarily from the truckster. We're heading home for a little bit, and I got other shit to do today, but we're heading home specifically so I can make this video. Anyway, I'll see you when we get there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're at home now. And I figured, since we're talking about car stuff, specifically the new California law, AB-1824, Section 4, which is basically, it prohibits modified exhaust. Okay, I figured the most appropriate place to do it was in the garage because we're talking about car stuff. So anyway, first I got to say that most of what I'm going to say is an opinion. So if you don't know about opinions, I'll define that for you at the end of the video. But anyway, basically what this law is, okay, it prohibits modified exhaust. Specifically, I guess the target is these little tuner turds that go and they modify their cars to the point where they sound like a pissed off lawnmower, basically. I saw some videos on YouTube where these little tuner turds were complaining and crying about this new law, because they've modified their car so much that they're not legal now. The fine, if you get pulled over for loud exhaust. Now, the way it says in the law, and I'll try to put the link to this law down in the description box so that you can read it for yourself. Okay, and it's kind of vague, it really is. But anyway, it's a $1,000 fine for having your car louder than 95 decibels. Okay, and there are meters and things that they can use to read those decibels. Honestly, if I got pulled over for loud exhaust and my car or my truck was louder than 95 decibels and I got a ticket, I would probably fight it because there are some cars that come stock that are louder than 95 decibels. One thing that the law kind of prohibits is things like cutouts and bypasses. But then again, there's some stock vehicles that come stock with bypasses and cutouts. So I mean, it is kind of vague. If you have a vehicle that comes stock and it's got cutouts and bypasses in it, and it's louder than 95 decibels, if I got a ticket and I owned one of those vehicles, I probably would fight it, honestly. But, I mean, let's face it, I'm a car guy, and, well, I'm a hot rod guy. I don't think taking a 4-cylinder Honda and slapping a turbo on it and putting an exhaust tip on it to make it sound like a pissed off lawnmower makes you a car guy. That's just my opinion. But, anyway, like I said, the law is kind of vague, and I'll put the link to the law down in the description box. But if a cop pulls you over and that cop doesn't measure the decibels, that's fightable. You could fight that. If they just give you a ticket because your exhaust is loud and they don't have any way to prove it, take it to court. Chances are, if they do measure the decibels with the little decibel meter, keep in mind that decibel meter has to be 20 inches away and at a 45-degree angle to get a correct reading. And if they're not doing that, sometimes, there are some cops that would probably put it a little closer just to write that ticket. I'm sure they're out there somewhere. But, there are a lot of vehicles that come stock, that are louder than 95 decibels. But, that's not really why we're making this video, okay? We're talking about these guys. They put these turbos and shit on their cars, and they cut the exhaust all up. I know from experience driving around here in the Communist Republic of California that a lot of these guys, they cut the crap out of their exhaust. They cut the catalytic converters off. They put modified mufflers on them and things like that. And if you're driving down the road and I can smell your exhaust, there's only one of two things that's happening. Either you got a bad catalytic converter and you need to get that changed, or you don't have one at all. Another way to kind of detect on whether that exhaust has been modified to the point where it's illegal is if the car backfires. Okay, if you're going through the gears and you're backfiring, chances are you got modified exhaust and it's illegal. Plain and simple. Now keep in mind, this law's been on the books since 1979. Okay, and the only thing that is different about it is now the fine is non-correctable. In other words, you can't just go to the cop and say, "Can you just give me a fix-it ticket and be done with it?" Oh no, it's $1,000 fine. $1,000 is a big hit considering we pay as much as we do in the state of California. But anyway, here I got to take a look at my notes here. You guys know I got to have notes sometimes. But you can take the car to a state referee and they can inspect it. And if you do get that ticket, it could be overturned, with the state referee's inspection. But if they, just keep in mind, if they pop your hood and they see a bunch of modified shit underneath your car, underneath your hood, it's probably a guarantee that they're not going to overturn that decision for the fine. And they could impound your car. And depending on how many times you've had this ticket, they could probably auction that shit off pretty quick. You could lose the car for good. That's just the way it goes, let's face it. I think that the law is very vague in some aspects, and I think that in some ways it's kind of unfair. Because, with the idea that there are some cars that come stock with cutouts and bypasses, and they're louder than 95 decibels. But it's kind of a weird law to begin with. But the law's been around for a long time. Been here since 1979. They just revised it. Honestly, with all the other laws that we have to deal with here, and all the money that we pay out to the state, like for the gas tax and things like that, just to register our cars, this is kind of stupid. It really kind of is. And they may be targeting, these young guys or young girls, that have these modified cars. They could be a target. But just look at it this way. So's the guy that's driving around that 66 Chevelle with the straight pipes. That's the way that goes too. The only difference is the smog laws in California. Anything 1975 and above has to be smogged. Anything older than 1975 doesn't have to be smogged. So pretty much I could take any car under 1975 and I could modify the shit out of it, and it's legal. That's just the way the law is. That's the way the smog law is. But you know, there are some things that, like I said, are unfair or vague, but that's just the way it goes. You know, that these lawmakers don't care. Their idea is it's going to stop these street takeovers, and you know, people. You know, in my opinion, people aren't going to stop driving their car because of this, if that's what they're thinking. You know, I mean, honestly, in my opinion, these people in Sacramento they got nothing better to do. You know, if you elect a clown to office, expect a circus. And Sacramento, it's one big top in Sacramento. Let's put it that way. But yeah, so I mean, this law, you know, is just the state coming down on people that modify their car. Plain and simple. Me personally, I would like to put a NASCAR style exhaust on my GMC, but I can't modify the exhaust too much. You know, now I could put an exhaust on it like some Mustangs have, where it kind of goes down and the pipe is all there, and it's the correct amount of pipe with, you know, with the catalytic converters and the mufflers. But my thing is, I want the exhaust tips to come out right at, you know, before the front tires, right at the front of the bed right there. I mean, I could make it come all the way down and then come all the way back out, and it would be legal, as long as I don't cut the catalytic converters off or not put a muffler on the car. That's the way it goes. As long as the car or truck, in my case, isn't above 95 decibels, I'm legal. You just have to make sure that they're testing that 95 decibels and they're not just writing tickets. Now, if you have a modified exhaust or modified engine, and you take it to a smog shop here in California to get your emissions done on your car, they inspect it pretty good. I mean, they'll actually get underneath the car to see, number one, if you have catalytic converters, how modified your exhaust is, and actually they check the numbers on the catalytic converter. I guess there's some number that will tell them if that catalytic converter actually belongs on that vehicle. I mean, I've seen smog shops do that, and I've questioned them before on why they do that. And the smog people, all of them, even at the different ones that I've gone to, have all said the same thing. It's basically to see if I've put something on my vehicle that doesn't belong there that would make my car pass. Okay, there's a lot of these tuner turds out there that they modify their shit so much, and they try to go get the car smogged, and the smog shops won't even smog them. They won't. So they go out and they go get illegal smogs from shops that don't give a damn if the little the unit that they're testing the car with is even connected to that car. So that's how these kids are passing these smog tests. I've seen it happen. So, you know, that's just the way it goes. I guess that kind of covers the modified exhaust and the law that they revised here just recently. And I guess that, you know, illegal smogs are, you know, another thing that the clowns up in Sacramento are trying to avoid. And, you know, honestly, there is a lot of that going on here in California. So take that with a grain of salt. And if I offended anyone or pissed you off, sorry, not sorry. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed that. Didn't mean to hurt any feelings, but if I did, I did. Remember, opinions are like assholes. Everybody has one. Alright? So, anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll get back to you another time. I wonder if I put a turbo and a modified exhaust on my lawnmower, I wonder if it'll cut the grass better.